certification from the board.
I apologize for not being here last month. I was flat on my back. My back was bad. Anyhow. Only 2 official candidates filed for 2 available council positions, and only 1 candidate filed for 1 available mayor position in Delaware City's election this year. Therefore, in accordance with Section 808 of the Delaware City Charter and Code Book Chapter 2, Article 2, Elections, there will be no formal municipal election in Delaware City in April 2025. No voting machines will be made available for voting or for write-in campaigns of the day of election. The official candidates for mayor, for council member, are Elizabeth Linville Blaine, George Judith. The official candidate for mayor is Paul Johnson Sr. They will be sworn in the office tonight, April 21, 2025, at the meeting of mayor and council.
Thank you, sir. Could I have a motion, please, to accept the
Motion to accept cancellation of elections.
Seconded.
motion is second. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. All right, we're going to go into the swearing in of Councilwoman Dillapine, Councilman Douglas. Ladies first, so we'll go front and center. Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, please. Please repeat after me. I, Elizabeth Dillapine,
I, Elizabeth Dillapine,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
and the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
that I will uphold the Charter and ordinances of Delaware City,
that I will uphold the Charter and ordinances of Delaware City,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of council member according to the best of my ability.
of the office of council member according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Does anybody want to come up with George? What about Mr. Douglas? You want to come up?
Come on, Pop.
Bring them all up.
Bring them all. Come on, Matt, you want to get up here? I'm all right. Come on, Sue.
There you go.
Yep.
You want
Got
somebody?
the keys. Wait a minute. Oh, we're down in front. Down in front.
You just stand right there. Anywhere up here is fine. All right, left hand on the Bible, you're going to raise your right hand. You're going to hold on to
I'm
me.
gonna try, okay?
All right, please repeat after me. I, George Douglas,
I, George Dudley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
that I will uphold the Charter and ordinances of Delaware City,
to uphold the Charter and the ordinance of Delaware City.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of council member according to the best of my ability.
of the office of council member to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dad. Okay, Dad. I'm trusting you with the Bible. You're giving it to a Jewish. Yeah, do it.
All right, I guess that leaves me. Bill, you do the mayor?
Left hand on the Bible, right hand up, please. Thank you. Repeat after me. I, Paul H. Johnson Sr., do solemnly swear
I, Paul H. Johnson Sr., do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
and the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
that I will uphold the Charter and ordinances of Delaware City,
that I will uphold the Charter and ordinances of the City of Delaware City,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor according to the best of my ability.
I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations, George and Lynn.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to swearing in. First, we have the elect of vice mayor. Before we go into nominations for vice mayor, I do want to remind everyone again, it looks like we got a few more people here than last month. Last month, I announced that it's my intention that this is gonna be my last term. I'm gonna use these next 2 years to kind of, groom whoever wants to learn. You can't predict who the next mayor is gonna be. We have to go through the election cycle, of course, but whoever is elected vice mayor, or whoever wants to learn, it's gonna be an opportunity for me to kind of pass on the knowledge that I have and help that person as best as possible. So, having said that, just understand whoever's elected to the vice mayor position, I'm probably gonna lean on you a little bit more these next couple of years, just so you get the experience, and even help you run a meeting, 1 or 2 meetings, to get a better understanding of how everything works. So, having said that, I'll open the floor for nominations for the position of vice mayor.
I nominate Michael Jackson for the vice mayor again.
All right, Mike Jackson.
I'd like to nominate George Studlick for
Oh,
vice mayor position.
You want to be vice mayor, Mike?
I'll take it.
Okay. You're good.
I'll second.
Keep in mind,
Jackson.
keep in mind that the vice mayor has to be elected every single year, so that's not a 2-year position. So we'll be doing this again this time next year, so. Is there any other nominations for the food? All right, there's a motion and second. Any further discussion? If not, we're gonna go to roll call. Councilman Dudley.
Here.
Councilman Turley.
Here.
Councilman Roberts.
Here.
The Delaplane. Jackson. You want to abstain? Congratulations, we'll do the swearing in.
Here, present. Present. Should have been on.
Make it easier on that side.
Point to point.
All right, please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Michael Jackson,
I, Michael Jackson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
and the Constitution of the State of Delaware,
that I will uphold the Charter and ordinances of Delaware City,
that I will uphold the Charter and ordinances of Delaware City,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Vice Mayor
that I will faithfully discharge the duties and offices of vice mayor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All right, moving right along, I'm going to go into the police report.
Mayor, council, city staff, and those in attendance, if you can direct your attention to the crime view incident map on page 1 of my report. Starting in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a green shoplifting pinpoint. That incident was an adult male subject who removed items from the Sunset Market without paying. Officer Webb actually located the home of the subject days later. He was, however, in need of medical and mental health attention, which was a priority. The misdemeanor theft was tabled until we could reach out to him and resolve the pending matter. To the left of that is a green noise violation, which was a loud music complaint from that address. They complied to Officer Williams' request to lower the volume after her response. I'll touch on the DUI in the center of the page, insignificant offense. Below the DUI is a green weapon pinpoint. Behind that is a simple assault that's hidden. They were from the same incident, and I'll also cover those insignificant events. Located below the weapon pinpoint is a vandalism pinpoint where a mobile home was damaged from being struck by rocks. There is no suspect information at this time. And finally, to the left of the green disorderly, is a green disorderly conduct incident which didn't make its way on my legend for some reason. That was a harassment incident between two adults where one didn't want any further contact with the other. The harasser was notified and warned, and there hasn't been any additional issues. Go to page 2. It's our March calls for service. Our busiest day of the month was Saturday, followed by Friday, and the busiest hour was actually noon, followed by 1 and 2 in the afternoon. March incidents, we had 56. That's up 16 from last year. Actually didn't do the percentage of change. Feel free to work on that math problem yourself. And then for total incidents, we have 177 at the end of March. It was 143 last year for an increase of 34. And to touch on Vice Mayor Jackson brought up last meeting, or last month, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That could be traffic stops. We don't see any spikes in any crime. For traffic arrests, we had 47. We had 5 traffic warnings, 0 crime prevention checks, 17 crime reports, 13 field service reports, 1 accident, it was a property damage accident, and 12 criminal arrests. For significant events, Officer Williams concluded a month-long theft investigation which resulted in an arrest. The adult suspect was known to the victim and arrested for theft under $1,500, where the victim is 62 years of age or older. The suspect was arraigned at our department and released with unsecured bail. Officer Webb handled a single vehicle property damage crash which initially started in Townsend, Odessa area. Several 911 callers reported numerous incidents of the vehicle striking signs and road barriers as they traveled northbound. The vehicle was eventually left inoperable from the damage sustained and stopped on Clinton Street near 5th after striking several signs at our traffic circle. The operator fled from the vehicle on foot and was located by Officer Webb nearby. He was charged with driving under the influence of drugs and several other traffic-related charges. Officer Williams was dispatched to a fight between 2 adults with a weapon. The aggressor was arrested for aggravated menacing and possession of a deadly weapon during the commission of a felony. This suspect was also released with unsecured bail in order to have no contact with the alleged victim. And Officer Williams attended a crisis intervention team training in Dover in March. This training is a product of the National Alliance of Mental Illness and was a week-long course to aid officers in dealing with and understanding individuals with mental health concerns. She's basically a hostage negotiator, a crisis negotiator, and there will be advanced classes for her to take. I don't have it on here, but I don't know if you saw on Facebook, Lieutenant Kerr is our part-time lieutenant. He retired from his full-time Capitol Police Department job. Discussions with the city manager, and Lieutenant Clemens gave up a day so Lieutenant Kerr can come on 1 day a week. He's going to be our accreditation manager, so we can start our Delaware Police Accreditation Commission. And he's also going to pick up the slack, any needs at code enforcement during the week. We're lucky to have Lieutenant Kerr with his many years of experience. And also we have a police accountability committee meeting will be in May sometime. Keep an eye out for that. I'll put that out shortly. That concludes my report.
All right, any questions for the chief? All right, thank you, sir. City manager report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. I just have a short report this month. I wanted to let everyone know senior tax exemption applications were due April 15th. So Town Hall is currently processing the approved exemptions and entering them into our tax system. We will now begin preparing for the upcoming tax season, which includes updating all the properties in Delaware City with their new assessed values. I'm also in the process of preparing our CRS annual floodplain report as well as our MPDS stormwater report, both of which are due at the beginning of May. I'm also in the process of submitting the city's grant applications through the Community Redevelopment Fund. I wanted to just let everyone know if they utilize the community garden that we did have the missing fence section replaced last week. We have, so Clinton Street paving project, Artesian has wrapped up their, water main replacement project. So now the city, we're currently working with our engineers to put out an RFP together to have Clinton Street paved from Fifth Street to Second Street. The community center HVAC replacement, I had mentioned it in my report last month and every month before that for the last few months. AECom had submitted a new proposal from the general contractor outlining the additional work required for the HVAC system. The proposal included a request for $147,000 in added costs and an extension of 80 days to the project schedule. The city has rejected this proposal and we are currently awaiting a response. I just wanted to put on here that the townwide yard sale will take place this Saturday, and the following Monday, the 28th, is our large items pickup. Please note the following: no appliances or large metal items, no TVs larger than 32 inches in the older box style, no hot tubs or steel bathtubs. If you have any questions about what can be put out for large item pickup, just please call Town Hall. I have on here again this month that the Board of Ethics is currently seeking additional members. There is also one open seat on the Tree Commission. If you're interested in serving your community by joining either of these groups, please contact Town Hall. And then I have my list of meetings: the March 25th Board of Adjustment meeting, March 31st 4th Yukon Executive Committee meeting, the April 1st Historic Preservation meeting, April 7th Planning Commission meeting, April 8th Refinery CAP meeting, and April 9th the 4th Yukon Board meeting. And that's my report for this month.
Thank you. Great, I did have a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
In reference to the property reassessments, when do the next round of tax bills go out?
Our tax bills will go out in July.
Because what we're probably gonna have to do is, between yourself and the finance manager, we're gonna have to look at this reassessed value and see what we need to do. We're gonna have to lower our tax rate, so it's revenue neutral, but we're gonna have to do that through an ordinance, which is gonna take 2 months. So we're gonna have to figure out what the new reassessment is to get us to the same revenue that we have now. We're going to adjust our rate down accordingly, so it's revenue neutral, understand?
Right, yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, we can do that next month. We can put it on there, or we can,
So we can do
Have it
May
for
and
the budget.
June,
Yeah,
and then
that's
July
okay.
we can do the billing, okay. All right, let me see. I did want to elaborate a little bit on this HVAC project, since it is taxpayer money. There was a mistake on the HVAC project where, I guess it was the engineering firm underneath it undersized or didn't take into account the right sizing for the unit.
yeah, the engineers that designed this in the very beginning for the proposal left out a portion of the heating elements.
So basically, the unit was not sized appropriately for the needs of the building. And now they're coming back and want us to pay the $147,000 difference. Brittany and I had a discussion. I said, absolutely not. So we're going to discuss that a little bit further this evening in the executive session, see what our next step would be. But I don't think it's appropriate for the city to incur that cost on a mistake that was made by the engineering firm based off the RFP that went out to the public. So, like I said, we will be discussing that in executive session to figure out the best path forward. City solicitor report, you have a report, sir?
Yes, just very briefly, we had some very minor matters going on in the last month, some code interpretation issues. We did have a good planning session with the planning commission, however, in the last month. I think was well received, and I think it's important for legal counsel to update the board from time to time on the legal standards and what's required to make sure that our decisions are appropriately documented for future reference. And that completes my report for this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the solicitor, or, I'm sorry, or the city manager, if I skipped that part? All right, we're gonna move on to the finance report.
Yes. Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and
City of Delaware City. I just wanted to say that we're, holding our own as far as the finances. We're showing a surplus of $497,000 because we had, higher income, even though our expenses are a little bit higher this year. However, excuse me, we're still ahead of last year by about $74,000, so I thought that was pretty good to mention. I compared this time last year with this time, this year at the end of March, and, you know, we're still ahead by $74,000 more than we were in the end of '24. And I'm sorry, I have a frog in my throat. So that's pretty much the first page. If you guys will turn to the second page, the quarter end, I wanted to mention the quarter end with the negative market in the stock market and the falling interest rates. We've still done pretty well in our investment account. If you note the fourth line down, we're showing $54,000 in investments, even though we did reflect a slight loss this month in the total investment. But we're holding our own there too, and they predict, I get a report from the bank for the investment group, and, you know, they predict a positive outcome from all the things that are going on in the market right now. So, and if you'll just notice, council members, I have a new line which basically helps George Dudlick with his balance in the for the food closet, ending in 4018. So that I added that account, and you'll see the offset of expenses with that when I have you turn the page. Another reason our income's up a little bit too is the real estate transfer tax. We're up over budget about $30-some thousand, about $31,000, and that helps with our total income. So I thought that was worth mentioning. If you'll turn the page to page 3, and one day I'll remember to number these pages for you guys. So the one thing to note on the top line under general admin revenues is you'll notice the third line down, FEMA assistance. That $55,000 came in. Brittany and I looked into it. It was for actually expenses that were turned into FEMA a couple years ago, and they finally sent the money. So that just was a little bonus. So that helped our income. And then when you look at our expenses, we're still holding our own. The electric bill that I've mentioned before, the electric and heating bills, the health insurance, and items that show a negative where there wasn't a budget or the budget was too low. I plan on doing an adjusted budget once this year in this next month. So when I present April, you'll see some adjusted budget lines, just to reallocate. Now that Brittany and I have studied a little bit more in the financial area and looked at the past few years, getting ready for budget season again, I thought if I adjusted the budget to make it look more realistic, rather than just compare it and follow what was done the year before, because I noticed a lot of the line items get that we may not have used, that were used in the year prior. So okay, and George Dudlick, if you look down at line that the expense number that ends in 5345, about a quarter of the way up, that's your line that you'll look at the expenses that go against your income.
The $3,770?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll take it.
Yep. Next page, code enforcement, just worth mentioning again. Apparently we've issued a lot more code violations and brought in some more money that helps the total picture. We're at 9,500 as opposed to when I put the budget in for 3,000, just comparing it to the year before. I'm sorry. I'm on page 4, the 4th page. Code enforcement. I know, I need to number the pages, I'm sorry. Next, the page for the police department. I know the chief has, aside from the donation at the top, he's working on some other, grants that cover some of his expenses, but he's holding, you know, some of his expenses are kind of holding down a little bit compared to last year too, so that's a good thing. So that's the public safety with me. Okay, and then the next page, community center. Aside from the last 4 lines, the community center's doing fairly well with their expenses, except for the electric bill, which kind of, I know, they were kind of shocked at the past couple of bills, but I will say I have worked with Delaware Power, and I got a hold of a contact person that helped a lot, and they sent us maybe 4 or 5 bills in the last 6 weeks called revised. They've sent us credits, and I think I mentioned this before. I feel like this month's March bill that we just received is in line and back down to a normal rate. So I think going forward we'll be okay. Next page, next couple pages were public works expenditures. We're under budget for most of these expenditures, down through public works, sanitation, yard waste, stormwater. We're okay. Street revenues, next page, street revenues. So that 80,000 reflects all that we have used all of the money that came in, that we were holding in the street revenue account. And we're way over, again, because of the snow and ice removal that was charged to the maintenance of the streets and materials and supplies. So, I had to disappoint the mayor because he wanted to use the street funds for some of the paving project, but we had already used it up with the snow and ice removal this year. So, nothing else really worth mentioning on this page. Next, everything on this page fairly straightforward. Nothing worth really mentioning. Next page is, we did, again, we had some pass-through. If you're on the page that begins with facade program loan revenues, and if you look down at the bottom, I had to add CTF revenues and expenditures because the fire department wanted to pass through some money through town halls. So it reflects that they bought a new vehicle, but it's a wash. So we got the money from the grant that was applied for the new truck. So that didn't reflect on our budget at all. Last page, second to the last page, I'm sorry, where Delaware City Day, I know Wendy's ramping up for that soon. I don't know, is she here? Yeah. Where is she? Oh, there you are. And I had to, she asked what her budget was, and you know, Wendy, I'm gonna send you this page. I said I would send you the page each month now that was for you. It just reflects, we had another bill come in that we had to pay from last year, so it kind of reflects a little bit of a loss, but it's kind of a wash. So I suggested to Wendy if she could try to find some other way to bring in some money for the Delaware City Day expenses. And I know we're all watching expenses So I'm working, with Wendy on that aspect, just trying to help her understand where all these line items came from for last year. Last page. I'm very proud that, actually, I forget who it was, I don't know if it was you, Mike, but this, the interest-bearing accounts that came about, and, a couple council members and the mayor and Brittany and I, we've all talked about it at different times, so I finally had the bank turn over the accounts you see, if you look all the way to the right. Those accounts that I did turn over, gave us 1 month of $4,590. So I had the bank turn them all into, interest-bearing checking accounts that will indeed bring a little more money in to those, accounts. So I appreciate everybody that, took a part with helping me understand what was going on. And, before any of you mention, I did forget one when I turned the list and emailed the banker. I'm sorry, I'm probably not supposed to say I made a mistake, but I forgot one of the accounts that has the ADA ramp upgrade. So I knew one of you may mention it to me, but I do have the banker, he turned that on for April. So that will reflect interest in April, so, yes. Now, the interest rate that came in, was at 2.89. He thought it was around 3, but that may not be as high this coming month, but it's still more than what we had, so I thought that was a good thing. And that's all I have. If there's any questions or anything, you can ask or email me or.
All right, a couple quick questions.
Yes, sir.
Page 2,
Mm-hmm.
$31,000 increase in RTT, is that attributed to houses selling at Fort DuPont or?
I'm sorry, the third, say that again?
Second page, 4811.
4811.
Okay, the $31,000 increase in
Oh,
RTT?
yes, that's, it is not, it does not have to do with Fort DuPont. It
So
has
it's just from regular sales
just
of
from
properties in Delaware
sales
City?
and Newcastle County sending us money for the transfer tax. Yep, yep.
Let's see. All right, one more question is, Brittany, did we put in for, I know grant need submissions are already due, but did we put in an increase for next year's grant need?
We have not increased it now.
You just kept it the same?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I believe that is all the questions I had. Any other questions for the finance manager?
I have a question. The transportation committee fund, is it for a pickup truck for the fire company? I mean, we got them the loan and we just gave the fire company the vehicle. Well, and when did that go into effect?
The money came in and the check went out like.
So that was this month?
In March.
So they got a new vehicle this month? Okay.
It's through DelDOT. It has to come through a municipality, so we're just a pass-through for the fire company. It didn't cost us anything.
Okay, well, I'm glad,
Yeah, yeah.
that's good.
All right, any other questions?
And then for the Delaware City Day Committee, so that 64,000 is all Wendy's that put on?
Sure is.
Okay, Wendy, do you hear that?
Oh, is that 64, is that what's?
Is that for fireworks, or is that for police, or is that for Wendy? And us to have a nice time? Okay. Well, I mean, some of it would have to at least be for,
Sponsorships is when, someone donates money or they decide to sponsor one of the areas, I believe, Wendy, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
The sponsorships, we put that line in for people that just donate money or they're sponsoring one of your areas for Delaware City Day, right?
That's correct.
They contribute to someone running a booth or whatever, instead of vendor fees is what, participants come in and pay for their fees, that whatever Wendy decides they should be charged. Wendy had the t-shirt sales and then the grant and aid specifically for the Delaware City Day that she has every year.
So Wendy, do you have any other expenditures coming up that hasn't hit yet, considering we're already over budget on Dollar City there?
Not for last year, and we were, in budget from the number I was given from last year. So
Okay.
I'm currently going through the numbers now and, seeing where the discrepancy is.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve subject to audit.
Motion to approve March 2025 finances,
Second.
subject to audit.
All right, motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. We're going to go into announcements and communications. There are no appointments this evening. Any committee, commission wants to give a report? Yes, Lydia?
Hi there, I'm here representing Jaguar Community Park District. I just wanted to give us an update. We did do our Easter egg hunt last weekend or the weekend before, and it was a great turnout. I want to say thank you to the library for hosting us. We had, over 75 people come? It was a big turnout for a rainy day, so thank you everybody who did come, and thank you to everyone who spread the word. Our next big thing that's coming up is we are doing another bus trip this year. Sign-ups are going to be May 17th in front of the post office. We are going to Washington Zoo on June 21st. So mark your calendars. Sign-ups are first come, first serve. So we are very strict about our rules. If you have any questions, please reach out to either me, Pam, or anybody on our board. We'd be more than happy to help you or answer anything. Our meetings are the second Tuesday of every month, so you're more than welcome to come. Switching hats, I also would like to talk about Delaware City's food closet. So I wasn't here last month, so I couldn't really talk about it, but our Delaware City food closet could use some more donations. Just to put into perspective, we are serving about 25 families every 2 weeks, which is a lot of families because each family is consisting of more than 2 people per household. So it's a lot of mouths to feed, and it's very hard to keep up with. So if you have any donations that you would like to make, we will graciously accept them. We do open the food closet twice a month. It is on the second and last Monday at 6:30 p.m. It is in the back of the community center. So if you know where the library is where that new ramp is. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or George.
Hey Lydia, did we ever get the $5,000 grant submission in the Dot Foods?
We did not get the grant yet. We are still working on it. I submitted the paperwork and then they asked me to resubmit some more, so I submitted it and I haven't heard back yet. But that is something that we're working on.
Usually pretty successful with that, and so.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, planning, anything?
Planning had a good meeting this month. The property that's gonna go up on 109 and 109A, the owner has changed the design to eliminate the garage up front and the driveway. We've passed a 0 front setback on the property, so he can build porches on the front of the house and keep it in line with the rest of the houses in that town. He goes before Board of Adjustment tomorrow, so I think for the final say on that. That should be good to go after that.
All right, library?
Hi. So the library is partnering with the Delaware City Tree Commission this Thursday to celebrate Arbor Day. We will be having an educational program for all ages at 6 p.m. at the library. You can come and learn how to care for and identify native trees, and we'll have activities and picture books for the kids. The library will also be participating in the townwide yard sale. We'll have books and DVDs and magazines and all kinds of fun stuff to sell. We have a special $15 tote bag. You can fill it up for $15 rather than paying individually, and all proceeds will benefit the library, so we can have all these fun programs that we run, which there's a flyer on the back. Let's see, and in addition, on Saturday, while we're having our yard sale, we will also have the Star Wars bad guys roaming around the library for fun, and we'll have Star Wars themed activities. And the library is, as I say every month, proud to be one of the many organizations partnering with the Friends of the African Union Church Cemetery. There are over a dozen programs associated with this. between May 24th and June 22nd. Again, this flyer is on the back table, so I don't have to read all of these programs to you right now.
Thank you. Main Street, anything, Tim?
Yeah, the townwide yard sale is this Saturday. Two important notes. One, our guests who come to town really enjoy having a map of who's got things to sell. So I want to point out once again, and it's posted down at the library on the counter, about GSALR.com. That's an app where you can post one item, take 50 photographs, it's all free, and then that company, GSALR.com, puts it out to 5 independent sites. And what it does is it creates a map on someone's phone, and you understand people who enjoy yard sales are a special breed. So they'll look at that every day to see where the best yard sales are and where they can drive the least amount and pick up the biggest number of great treasures. So GSALR.com, and we don't get paid anything from them. It's all free, and you can post up to 50 pictures. The second item is important. This weather forecast has bounced everywhere. It's bounced all over the place. We're going to keep going to Saturday, the 26th. And just like Chief did for National Night Out, we're going to hold steady to the course. And if it rains, we'll look at Saturday, or Sunday, excuse me. But right now, just in the last hour, they've added rain on Sunday as well. So, you know, earlier, 12 hours ago, it was a bright sunshine showing on the thing. So we're going to hold steady, and we're going to look for doing this on the 26th. Just as a note, 30,000 emails went out about the yard sale today. 30,000 emails to people who are database managed, who have an interest in yard sales, who have an interest in thrifts. That's 30,000 folks. We hope that works in addition to the rest of the advertising. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Delaware City Day?
Delaware City Day Committee will have its first meeting on Thursday, May 8th at 6 o'clock in the library. We invite you all to join and volunteer for the committee. We always need volunteers to help make it a successful event. This year it will be on October 4th, Saturday.
Thank you. Tree Commission?
I'd also like to mention something about the Friends of the African Union Church Cemetery. Their annual epitaph newsletter has been published, and it's kind of a special edition. It is featuring a story behind the founding of the Friends and how the cemetery was reclaimed, and an interview by one of the founders. So there are some copies in the back, and it's also, you can read it online as well. And for the Tree Commission, a bunch of announcements have already been made, but thanks to Taryn Davidson of the Delaware State Forestry Division, obtained possibly again a new Tree City USA sign for our town, which we have been a Tree City USA city for over really 21 years or so, but during the COVID there was a little bit of break. So it says 19 years, and we probably received a sign, you know, that 20 years ago, but I'm not sure where something happened to it, but we've been trying to get another sign, and they found one for us at no charge. So we'll replace the tree-friendly division sign. We maintain both titles, but the Tree City is a little bit more organized, as more of an organized and care code involved with it for a bigger city. So thanks very much. Hope to see you on Thursday at the library, and then Friday the commission will be at the post office all day, trying to answer questions and have people sign up for the news email that we send out, and anyone can be added to that and can ask City Hall how to get on that, and they'll contact me. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Is anything for Delaware City Retirement? City Councilman by the way, from Newcastle's joined us. Anything from Newcastle, sir?
No, just happy to be here.
All right, thanks for your support. Any other organizations or commissions? All right, final call, any other organizations or commissions? All right, want to move on, there's no old business on the agenda this evening, so we're going to move on to the first item under new business, which is discussion on setting dates for the budget workshop. So just a reminder, we have to have a budget in place for July 1st, so it means we would technically have to approve the budget in the June meeting. We typically have 3 or 4 meetings during May, and if needed, we'll have a meeting before the June meeting, right before we go into session to approve the budget. So I'll leave the floor open to everyone's availability.
I want to make the first statement. I will not be in town from May 16th to May 25th. I'll be in Tennessee on vacation, so we gotta drop that right off.
And I have my knee surgery on May 20th, with knee replacements. I'm gonna be out for like 2 or 3 weeks of hobbling.
All right, so the May meeting is May 19th.
Might be able to make that one.
The June meeting is June 16th.
I can make it the 16th.
Do you want to schedule one prior to May and June's meeting and then try to throw a third one in there somewhere?
June 16th.
So we could do maybe like May 19th at 5 or 5:30, maybe 5 o'clock, give us enough time.
How about May 14th?
So we do the 19th
George
first?
got surgery on the 20th, and I won't be here on the 19th.
Okay.
So we talk about the 19th?
No, the 14th.
Mike won't be here.
14th works for me.
14th works? Okay, what time on the 14th? 5:30, 6?
Yeah, let's do, I mean, it doesn't matter to me, if the earlier the better.
5:30?
Do 5:30 at the community center.
5:30 at the community center. Budget meeting.
Can we just do the, there's no problem using the surfboard room, right? All right, so that's the first one. Then you want to have another one before the June meeting, just to be safe?
Well, George, you're gonna be out, you said you're gonna be hobbling around for 3 weeks?
A good 2 weeks, yeah. 20th.
Why don't we do the week of the 9th, then in case we need to add one before the actual meeting on June, because
May 9th work, George?
Huh?
May 9th?
June.
Oh, June 9th.
June? I hope I'm better by June 9th, yeah. That's
She
June.
means
That's about
June
3
9th.
weeks.
She means June 9th.
Yeah, actually do the 9th.
Okay, good. June 9th.
I can do
Same
one-
time, same place?
I can do any other night except the 9th. I can't do June 9th.
June 10th?
10th is fine.
Oh, wait.
You determined the
June
time
10th is
yet
the
for
park
either one
building
of these
meeting.
days?
Can't do June 10th.
5:30.
Can't do June 10th?
Yes.
11th?
11th. Okay, we can do 11th.
All right, so we'll do the 11th at 5:30 at the community center.
That's supposed to be for Scotland.
And then we'll do the 16th here at 5:30 before the regular mayor and council meeting starts. Mike, I know you won't be here, but that'll just be more like a formality.
And June 16th?
No, June 16th? I'll be here.
Okay.
May 16th.
May 16th, okay, gotcha. All right, so we should be good.
11th time and where again, I'm sorry?
5:30, community center, and then the 16th will be here at 5:30.
Be here?
Here.
Yep, right before the regular mayor and council meeting, yeah.
That's the only one you're having at the fire hall.
Yes, correct. I try not to tie the fire hall up more than we need to, because this is their busy time with weddings and graduations and stuff, so.
Understood.
All right, so we got the 3 dates selected. We'll go from there.
Of course, we'll all get reminder emails.
Yeah, so we don't need any motion or anything on that one. So we good before we move on? All right. Discussion and potential vote for use of the mayor's ball funds. I know last month, Councilman Dudley talked about seeking additional funds to help replace some of the carpet at the community center, the library. That's what ended up getting this on the agenda. I will defer to, I had some preliminary discussions with the finance managers, so there may be some other funds available also, so I defer to her, see where, how much, and all that kind of good stuff.
So Brittany and I discussed it briefly, and I just said, since we're gaining all this interest now on the money and, you know, maybe the mayor's ball account should sit there and gain a little bit of interest, but,
So we actually have a fund, it's called Grant Made, and it's for the community center. It comes in incrementally, so we don't have the full amount until almost the end of the year, which is around now. So we do have money in the Grant Made for the community center. So if council is okay with that, I think that at this time we should use the Grant Made money for upgrading the flooring at the library.
What was the total cost for the auto carpet? I know we talked about doing half of it, and that. What was the total cost for everything?
For the library carpet,
For everything?
for all of it, I got a couple of estimates, one was 23, one was 26.
So we'll go with 23.
And that was, again, all of it. There are a couple rooms that would be lower, far lower on my priority list. I think we could get it down for probably around 17 to 19.
So we're still showing 48,000 in grant need, correct? So if we minus that out of there, we're still fine?
We still have some.
If council's good with that, I'll just entertain a motion.
Motion to use grant and aid to upgrade the carpet in the library and community center.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
The only, for the fire companies reached out to me and said, Lori, they would send people over to move stuff for you, save you money. So they're willing to help, that, the guys are, you know, they need to know the day before, but they'll come over, move anything during the day, so you girls want to touch anything. So, yeah,
All right.
we appreciate that, right, Paul?
Any other discussion? The only thing I will caution, just so you guys know this moving forward, but any interest that we make on these accounts that's specific to a project, it has to roll back to that project. It can't be used interchangeably.
yep.
So, all right, having said that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All
We
right,
have to recuse ourselves.
motion's carried. All right, discussion on the Blue Water project. I asked for this to be put on. We were getting a lot of questions last month about one of the partners selling and Blue Water buying them out. I didn't have a whole lot of information. Unfortunately, Tim is not here this evening to kind of update us. So we can probably move this over to next month if everybody's comfortable with that when Tim Sleeman's here, because I don't know much about it. I just know
I think we need Tim here to help us understand what's transpiring.
Yeah, I know that the other partner's getting bought out. I'm assuming it's by Blue Water, and they're still moving forward with the project that was approved by council, but that's an assumption. I don't know that for sure, so. Can we put that on the agenda for next month when Tim's here? All right, we're gonna move into member of council comments. Councilman Dudley.
No, thank you for giving us the money for the library carpet. It really needs it. It will benefit everybody in town. So thank you very much. And the mayor's ball's money's still intact. Perfect. Doesn't get any better than that. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Turley.
Still working on that $50,000 T-Mobile grant. It sort of hits the bullseye for what they're looking to fund. We have the bids in to replace some of the tree damaged sidewalks and, you know, those areas across from the old firehouse. They're sort of sinking into terra firma. I'll be getting letters of support from some of the major operations in town, like, you know, Main Street, and hopefully Dragon Run, Tree Commission, HPC, to support that, and it'll be ready for submission here shortly. It's due by June for funding in August or September.
All right. Councilman Roberts.
I kind of want to reiterate on what Councilman Dudley just said. First off, makes me very happy we're not messing with the mayor's ball fund. I think that still needs, whatever use that's used for, it still needs to be something that benefits the original idea of what how it was originated. So personally, I'm very happy that's happened. And hopefully we do find a way to use it.
Yes, sir, thank you. And don't forget, we have the 250-year celebration coming up next year as well, so, maybe it could be used for that, to have some type of major event or 2-day event, whatever. But whatever council wants to do, that's fine. I'm open to any suggestions everybody and the community or the businesses have or whatever. In fact, Lynn mentioned that to me tonight, and I think she was talking to John and maybe Dale about using that for the celebration, so I think that's a great idea, so.
John?
So, appreciate that, John. Make sure you get credit for that.
No need credit.
All right, anything else?
No.
All right, Councilwoman Dillon.
Yes. I want to thank John for taking that offer earlier of maybe doing like a council ball or something like that as a kickoff for our bicentennial that we're doing, which would sort of reflect what was done at the last one, where they had that formal picnic down in the park. So something to remember and something to really honor our town well. But I know John did offer to get involved if we did that, and I want to thank him for that. Also, I met with Nicole Poore, our senator, on Monday. Randy was there from the refinery for her constituent meeting, with a gentleman by the name of Alan Ratho. Alan is sort of the head of Delaware's fraud division, and he gave us a wonderful presentation on how to spot fraud, what to do if you've been frauded, and just some really, really good pointers. He would like to, has offered to come here and give us a presentation for our town at either mayor and council or an individual meeting on it. So we're gonna look into that. And just one interesting fact. What do you think the biggest fraud is in Delaware? The biggest scam in Delaware? Somebody take a guess.
Workman's comp.
Nope. Romance. Romance is rampant in Delaware with internet romances. The amount of people being bilked out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, is just phenomenal. That and phone calls from the family member in jail, or that got a speeding ticket. And one piece of advice he did give is, if you have a grandchild that calls you, and they're really good now, they sound just like the little creeps. I got arrested, I had an accident with my car. Say back to them, was that my 1969 Mustang? A car that you don't have, that you wish you had. And if they say yes, then you know you got them. It's a fraud, because they are so good in how they sound.
Yeah, I received it.
Yeah, I think we all have, but they're worse than ever.
Yeah, they call me grandpa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, but anyway, I talked to Paul about it, and we'd like to set up whether it be mayor and council, that he gives his presentation, or an individual. But that's all I have.
All right, Vice Mayor Jackson.
So the money for the library. 3 years ago, I stood in this room and I fought for that library. So I have no problem spending money on maintaining the library and keeping it up to date. The Mayor's Ball Fund that is left is seed money. It is there for us to host another event as a fundraiser. Now, I know that it stopped around COVID, and we put out the call for somebody to manage it, run it. So I want to keep that money available so that if somebody decides they want to run the event, it still happens.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it would take an act of this council to move or use that money anyway, so it's safe as long as nobody runs a motion on the floor and it gets approved. So. And hearing the discussions tonight, I don't think that's gonna happen, so. All right, anything else?
That's it?
Can I add one thing, sir?
Yep.
I had a couple particular notices that, this past couple weeks. about people soliciting through the developments, knocking on the doors, and that's basically not allowed in this town at all.
Yes.
My suggestion, if somebody's coming through doing that, immediately call town hall so they can get our police department out investigating this thing. You can't just say, no, I don't wanna deal with it, and let them go, because next thing you know, they're knocking on your neighbor's door. So, I just wanted to make that announcement publicly, mainly because it's been brought to my attention, like I said, in the last couple of weeks. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, a couple of things that I have, I have to get the date, but there is a training session coming up in May. I believe it was sent out to all the city managers, so Brittany should have this as well. But Max Walden is teaching a class for Board of Adjustment. So anybody on the Board of Adjustment or anybody just wants to learn in general what the Board of Adjustment is, it's $20. If you're on the Board of Adjustment or affiliated with the town, we'll cover the fee. It's $20 a person. But if anybody's interested in learning what the Board of Adjustment does, or if you're on the board and want education, we'll get you the dates for that. Let's see what I have here. So Community Reinvestment Fund is a grant through the state of Delaware that's open until May 1st. All the city managers have to apply for it. In discussions with Brittany, we're going to put in for some additional paving. We do have a pretty good amount of paving money that we're hopeful to get Clinton from 2nd to 5th done. Portions of Canal Street from 2nd probably up to at least up to 3rd. Canal Street needs a pretty good amount of work over there. And then some connector streets between Washington and Clinton as well, depending on how much money we have. But if you guys have any other capital needs, make sure you get them to Brittany probably no later than early next week, because submissions are due May 1st at 3 p.m. So just wanted to mention that if anybody has anything. And then finally, last week I attended a meeting with the county executive. One of the things that I've been jumping up and down over for the past 6 years that I've been mayor is paramedic coverage below the canal. And I believe I've talked about this in a couple council meetings. Although technically we're not below the canal, we are directly impacted by paramedic service below the canal. There's one full-time paramedic unit below the canal. And just really quick, I'm going to go through some bullet points that I use just to kind of give you guys an idea of how vulnerable this area is. And one of the things that I'm going to ask is, you reach out to the newly elected Councilman Konecki. I will be attending the county council budget meeting and prepared to speak if need be, along with every mayor and every fire chief below the canal. So if anybody wants to attend and just comment as a regular citizen, the floor has public comment just like our meetings. But in general, Newcastle County is technically about 494 square miles. 110 of those square miles are below the canal. Above the canal, there's 8 full-time medic units with 1 power unit over in the city of Newark. Below the canal, like I said, to cover 110 square miles, there's 1 full-time medic, and they try to put up a power unit that has not really been that successful. Going back, I joined the fire service back in 1987, so going back to around 87, 90, there was only 1 ambulance below the canal, volunteer ambulance, that was Port Penn. The county put up what was called back then a tech unit. It was basically a basic life support unit. That they disbanded that in the early 90s. Since then, fast forward to today, the volunteer fire companies on the backs of the volunteers have put 7 BLS or basic life support ambulances below the canal. They're not all 7 in service at the same time, but they prepared for the growth. We're still 1 paramedic unit below the canal. It's absolutely insane, makes no sense at all. If the medic unit down there is tied up and Delaware City gets an ALS run and they use medic 2 or medic 6 from the north, then sometimes we don't have coverage. We have to meet a single unit en route to the hospital. There's been times there hasn't been any units available. It's unacceptable. I explained this. They said that there's money in the budget, it's a recruitment issue, but we'll see. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys an update. I'm gonna post this on my Facebook page that I presented to the county executive, along with the Director of Public Safety, the Chief of EMS, and the Deputy CAO, so they're all aware. And I told them I'm tired of trying to have discussions outside of public. I've never put anything on the record. I'm done talking behind closed doors and asking and getting made promises that never come true. So these facts and everything are gonna be put on the record moving forward, and it's gonna be up to them to figure out what they're gonna do with coverage below the canal. I will post the dates for the budget meeting.
I'll go with you.
Yes,
Does the problem go all the way down the county line?
absolutely. Absolutely. With me working in Kent County now, I called the director of Kent County, their ALS service down there. The Kent County medics, for the first quarter of this calendar year through March 30th, the Kent County medics have ran north into Newcastle County 125 times. Which leaves Clayton, Smyrna, all that area vulnerable, because the next closest medic unit's in Dover. So it's a compounding problem on both ends. So if you get right now, if you get a crash on Route 1 below the canal that needs ALS support, there's only one unit. The southern portion of the county has no ALS coverage.
Well, with public speakers to the problem at the council meeting, will above the canal have any impact on it?
Absolutely not, because they have plenty of coverage north of the canal.
Okay, let's say I go to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I live above the canal, does that carry any weight with that?
Oh, you're still a taxpayer, absolutely. You can speak on any issue anywhere in Newcastle County, you're a taxpayer. And you're directly impacted by it being a resident of Delaware City.
Or ambulance goes somewhere else, yeah.
Yeah. I will post the dates of the meetings if anybody wants to join me. Like I said, I've already got a commitment from Mayor Branner, Mayor Smith, the fire chiefs below the canal. If anybody wants to go with me and speak on under public comment, just let me know. Let me see what else I have here. I believe that is it. I see President Pop, you have anything, sir?
Thank you. I did turn my jacket inside out because I do work for the communications committee. I just got off work. But tomorrow, I know the county executive is presenting his budget to the county because we got an email from the county fire service leadership asking for all the fire chiefs, presidents, or representatives to feed that money tomorrow.